Hey, Joel Ekman here with Global Sites. I'm going to walk you through some refinements regarding the targeting of the remarketing campaign and ad group that we created in a previous lesson. The key point here is that we want to keep an eye on Google's expanding our targeting beyond just our remarketing audience. We absolutely do want to do that type of marketing, that more shotgun spray marketing to draw people in, to go out and try to find people that are similar to the people that we've tagged for remarketing. But this particular ad campaign and ad group, their job is more of a sniper rifle. We only want to show these ads as often as possible to people who have taken an actual interest in a specific product or service on our website. So let's walk through some of the ways Google tries to kind of suck you into that extra targeting. So recall, we have a single display campaign that we've titled Remarketing Campaign. I'm going to click into that campaign and then go straight to settings. Within the settings, I first want to make sure that my locations are straight, whether it's a country, multiple countries, if it's a tiny little geofence, whatever it might be, we want to take a moment and double check that we're not wide open on this. Typically, it's never a good idea to allow your ads to show to every location in the world. Languages, we spoke a little bit about our bidding in a previous lesson. Google is going to push for conversions, but it's often the case that you don't have enough conversion data to trust Google to do a good job in finding people. And remembering again that strategy for this campaign and ad group, we want to show our banner to these people as often as possible. Viewable impressions is absolutely the way to go. So we'll leave that guy be. Your budget is a really interesting thing with remarketing. Depending on how you've set your list up for duration and what kind of traffic you've got and how specific the targeting is, you may not be able to spend very much money at all in remarketing. If you have an audience of 200 or 300 people, I believe 100 is the smallest an audience can possibly be, you're going to have a hard time spending $20, $30 a day. So that's probably a good place to start for a company of my size. Under additional settings, they have some other helpful stuff here that I want to touch on. We could end it on a certain day if we wanted to. We could throttle the types of devices that our campaign shows. But one of my favorite settings hidden in here is the frequency capping. I believe I read somewhere it was 3 to 5 per day by default. Cranking this up to 10 or 20. And again, this is a little disclaimer here. It's based mostly on intuition and experience, but definitely cranking this up over 10 has had great results for us. Touch on dynamic ads briefly. Dynamic ads would allow us to, if we had a large database of properties or equipment or products, we could actually retarget people with the equipment or or services that they viewed dynamically without having to create multiple ad groups. Very handy tool, a little bit beyond what we're talking about here today. Conversion data is important. The more conversions we can load into our account, the more Google can use that data as our efforts go on and grow. The more they can use that data to go out and get more completions for us. Talk about a little bit about content exclusions, and I'll tell you, it is an area I am very passionate about, and this little box does almost nothing to really increase the quality of the placements you get. That said, let's talk about it briefly. If we're doing remarketing and we're only wanting to show our banner to people who have been to certain pages in our website, does it matter if we throttle them from viewing on any of these types of content? And I mean any of them. I mean, tragedy and conflict could be an article about a sensitive issue in a national news publication like CNN or Fox, right on down the line. What people who I've tagged for remarketing do is sort of up to them. I could absolutely make a case if I was selling board games or something like that, that I might not want those ads to run, on a war article. But 9 times out of 10, I feel like it's fine to leave all these open. The content type, park domains, we all know what those are. So this domain is for sale. It's sort of junk. It's the garbage lot of the internet. We'll go ahead and turn those off. Below the fold is, anything that you have to scroll to. Certainly I don't want to block that type of placement. So take all of this with a grain of salt. This is in games. I used to always turn that off when you could. You can't anymore. So turning off park domains is a good step. Briefly about IP exclusions, if you're utilizing a traffic monitoring program, there are a bunch of them out there. There are ways to collect IP addresses of your competitors and vendors. By getting a big list of those IP addresses, we've been able to save our clients over $100 a month in one case, simply by blocking their vendors who are using their Google ad to look up their phone number. So those are some of the high-level campaign settings, but let's dive now into the actual ad group that we created. Recall that we added a single audience to this ad group of our little bitty US and Canada most engaged remarketing audience. And it is, a big goose egg at the moment. I've said this before, I'll mention it again. To grow this list is going to take efforts outside of this campaign. We want to create separate campaigns through search, other types of display targeting to grow this list. It's not this campaign and ad group's job to grow this list. It's this campaign and ad group's job to serve this list ads. So just because it's only 48 people strong today doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It just means I need to drive traffic to this list to grow it to where it begins to show ads. All right, backing up here, we're at the ad group level now. We're going to go to settings. And under settings, we're just going to verify a few things. Bidding, I crank my bidding high. My cost per thousand bid, I'll never pay near that. It'll be a couple dollars at most. But I'm looking for quality placements. I want my ad on CNN. I want my ad on Fox News. I want my ad on ESPN. I want my ad in all the major best placements I can possibly get them. And to crank my bid up is one way to help that happen. Ad rotation, of course, we always want Google to rotate our best performing ads forward. And let's talk about targeting now. And this is sneaky. This is where Google, first of all, this section is not going to increase our targeting. It's going to narrow it. So this would allow us to show only to people tagged for our remarketing audience who are visiting a website regarding a certain keyword topic or specific placements that we've chosen. If you have a big enough list, God bless you, that's awesome. Then you could say you were selling automotive repair equipment. You could only show your ad on articles relating to or websites relating to auto repair. Absolutely possible, but for 9 times out of 10, when we're remarketing and we have these very, very tight sniper size lists, we just go ahead and leave this wide open. Observations we'll skip for now, but I really want to touch on this guy. This little setting buried in here is where Google kind of ruins things for us. It's by default set right about there. And while I'm sure this is great for expansion when you want it, the purpose of this campaign and ad group is not to go find new people. This is to remarket to a very specific list of people. So I'm going to turn this off. And that is it. I touched on the audience. I think that's everything running through here. So again, our audience is tiny and it's our job to head out there and create other types of campaigns and ad groups that are going to help grow that list and make this of a 1-2 punch, this would be that right hook that hopefully brings that sale home. Thank you.